those a little bit in Steve's. Guys, we haven't figured out what to call the next to last segment of the show. Matt Cochran suggested setup man, the guy that goes in before your closer in baseball. But today I wanted to hit everybody. We're going to start with Steve with one big question. So let me make a statement. We can see an end to the pandemic. We don't know when that end's going to be, but a year from now, probably no pandemic. Steve, what do you think will be a lasting change from what we've all gone through? And what do you think goes right back to normal?
Oh, man. That's such a loaded question. I think lasting changes, I think this has made internet plays and e-commerce plays specifically stronger. I think it's accelerated e-commerce and related names, and I think that doesn't change. We don't go in reverse after the pandemic wanes. So I think that applies to, big e-commerce companies and small e-commerce kind of up and comers alike, and companies like network, surrounding that network infrastructure plays and such. But I don't think we see a slowdown after the pandemic goes away for e-commerce and internet tech specifically. As far as what will go right back to normal, I don't know if I have an answer to that. It's that life, some life will sort of go back to normal, but yeah, I'm just going to decline to answer the second half of that question for now.
Let me predict for the first part before I throw it to Austin. The death of the suit. We are not going back to wearing suits aside from weddings and funerals. Austin Lieberman, your thoughts here.
I think virtual healthcare is it was already on the brink of being accepted, and now it has been. There's been regulations passed to make it basically easier, and like doctors can see patients cross borders and things like that. I think that's going to continue, and it just makes so much sense to open up healthcare across state lines and borders and things like that. So I think that's going to continue. Going back to normal, I think we will have in-person gatherings. So I think live sports, live concerts, things like that are some way somehow going to go back to normal-ish, where they're at least happening and people are gathering together.
And Max, I'll give you the last word before we move on and hit our finisher here. Max.
Yeah, so I think I'm not willing to say that this is going to be over in 2021. I think a lot of things have to go really well in order for that to happen. But certainly by 2022, I think it's feasible. But I think almost everything kind of goes back to normal. I know, Dan, you're probably itching like me to get out and maybe go to a playoff hockey or just a bar or somewhere, casino, something like that. So I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. And, sporting events, like Austin said, I think a lot of things are going to go back to normal. I think some of the things will stay. Like we talked about this on earlier shows with, are we going to fly across the country for that, 2-hour meeting? Probably not. But I think you're still going to have travel and all that. So.
Yeah, I cannot wait to be sitting in Madison Square Garden. The Rangers are on the way up. They're looking good. A concert. I've been in casinos, but being in a casino where I'm wearing a mask and don't move that much, where there's plexiglass between everybody, it's a fine experience. Look, I was at Epcot this weekend, so it's not like I'm sheltering in place, but socially distanced Walt Disney World is very different than regular Walt Disney World. Like, some of the very unpopular things, like the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot, had like a 30-minute wait to get in because there's air conditioning inside and there's a limited capacity. Those are the things that I do think are going to pop back. We're going to go to restaurants. Something else that I think that's here forever is, if we think I have a cold, I think a lot of us are going to wear masks, and I don't think that's a bad thing. If being a little bit more considerate of others, the other thing I think that is here to stay is, let's call it distance learning. I don't think schools are going to go to like a full distance model, but I think if you have the sniffles and don't feel well, you're going to have the option of going to class digitally, and they're going to be able to take attendance. They're going to be able to do the things, or maybe you have a doctor's appointment during the day as a kid where you can miss 1 or 2 classes, but go to the rest of the day. I think that kind of stuff is here, and it is going to stay. But guys,